it's not nearly as hot today as it has been throughout the summer, especially July, the hottest July on record in the United States. Look, I do want to start out with just one quick note, if I might, that is sort of strictly politics, but it's something that I've been working on a lot since I've been in Congress, and it's how I've run my campaigns, and I think it's really important to talk about sort of the political atmosphere in America right now and how it seems to be taking away from I think an honest and an open debate about the issues facing us, not only at the presidential level, at the congressional level, even at the state level. And you know, we've witnessed some scenes here recently and other parts of America of what I would call, you know, some pretty nasty behavior, some incivility on the part of folks. And you know, we see politicians getting that way with each other as well. And I just find that unacceptable myself. I've always tried to run my campaigns at a high level of civility, if you will. Yeah, I disagree with my opponent on issues, and I'll talk about that as I go forward here. And I'm sure he will as well when he's here later in the week. But the bottom line is, what I'm hearing from people in my district over and over and over again, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or don't identify with either party, is that they want politicians, they want leaders, they want members of Congress, they want the presidential candidates, they want them to sit down, talk about the issues across the table, eye to eye, and not call each other names, not be uncivil to each other, because the bottom line is, what we have to do is the people's work. We have to get things done. That's what I'm hearing over and over and over from my district. Now look, that doesn't mean we don't have differences, obviously, okay? But we can air those differences in a civil way, and I think have a constructive dialogue about how to move the country forward. I mentioned the heat, I mentioned the differences. Look, we should have a farm bill right now. There's absolutely no doubt about it, folks. But as you know, a couple weeks back, the leadership in the House of Representatives sent me and every other member of the U.S. House of Representatives home, I think prematurely. Actually, there was a vote in the House, and it was a bipartisan vote against adjournment. More voted against adjournment than voted for it. In 2008, I voted against the Democratic Party's idea to adjourn because we had not done what we needed to do for the flood. I talked to don't think that's acceptable. So we've got to make sure that the business of the people gets done. Now, I mentioned bipartisanship. This is something that I've been trying to do since I've been in office. Someone asked me the other day, well, you know, you're in the majority and, you know, you didn't reach out to people on the other side of the aisle those first 4 years. Now you're in the minority. How do you expect to get anything done? Well, the bottom line is, when I was in the majority, I reached out to the other side of the aisle. I developed relationships, personal and otherwise, with people on the other side of the aisle. That's something that I have done since I've been in office. It's actually something my predecessor did. It's something that the people of the 2nd District of Iowa, and I think of Iowa, and I think now the American people, it's something they expect of us. So in 2010, when I offered my own work skills job bill, making sure that we fill the skills gap that we see out there, I had universal Republican support for that bill when it came to the floor of the House of Representatives in 2010. Now that I'm in the minority, I'm reaching out to those very same people, and now I'm able to get significant portions of that bill into the reauthorization of the Workforce Investment Act, and this is on a committee in which I serve, and again, I'm in the minority, but I'm able to work with the majority to do what I need to do for the people of Iowa, for the people of the country, so we can close what is a skills gap out there so folks can find jobs. That's what I've been doing, folks. Thank you. Remember, we have the issue here with the 132nd, the fighter wing, the F-16s, right? That's a national defense issue. That is a jobs issue. That is a national security issue. It's an efficiency in government issue. That fighter wing, folks, is one of the most efficient, if not the efficient wings in America. Yet the administration wanted to cut it out. They wanted to reprogram them, have them do something else. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, folks. I led the charge with a Republican from California to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent those cuts from happening. They weren't the right thing to do. The Air Force never told us why they were doing them. They didn't give us a cost-benefit analysis. And the bottom line is those jobs should stay there. Those folks should stay there. That wing should stay there because they are doing a fantastic job. I led the charge on the Armed Services Committee, again, with a Californian on a bipartisan basis, to make sure that we prevented that reprogramming and that cut from happening. And not just here, but all around the country. We need the Air Force to be accountable to us, folks. That's the bottom line. I was able to do that on a bipartisan basis. Now, what else have I been doing in Congress? I'll tell you what. You know, we hear a lot about Medicare and Social Security, right? And look, both sides are concerned about that. Both sides, you know, talk doom and gloom and all the rest. There's no doubt about that. But the bottom line is we have a choice when it comes to Medicare and Social Security. These programs are near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons. I grew up in Sioux City, a single-parent mom, struggled with mental illness. In the 4th grade, we moved in with my maternal grandmother, with my grandma. I could not have gotten through high school in Sioux City had it not been for the Social Security survivor benefits that my grandma was receiving at that time. My mom could not hold down a job for any length of time because of her mental illness. I owe Social Security a lot. When my dad died, even though I didn't know him very well, when he died when I was a senior in high school, he had paid in enough to Social Security that I was able to get through Iowa State University in no small measure because I received Social Security survivor benefits. Here's the deal, folks. There are people, including my opponent, who want to privatize Social Security. They want to turn Social Security over to Wall Street. George Bush tried to do that. President Bush tried to do that in 2005. The American people roundly rejected privatization of Social Security. The Ryan budget, Governor Romney, my opponent, they all want to privatize Social Security. So long as I'm around, folks, I'm going to fight with every fiber of my being to make sure that we never privatize Social Security, that we protect Social Security. I can promise you that. Now, what about Medicare? That's a really big issue, as you know. That's something that's been in the news a lot. Medicare, I voted to extend the life of Medicare for 8 to 10 years. I voted to make sure that Iowa gets its fair share of Medicare, because many of you know that so long as Medicare is based on something they call fee-for-service, and so long as we have these geographic disparities, Iowa delivers just about the best health care in America, yet our providers get just about the worst Medicare reimbursement rates. That's unacceptable, folks. That's unacceptable. It's not only unacceptable for those providers, it's unacceptable ultimately for patients, because we cannot always recruit and then retain the best providers when that Medicare reimbursement rate is so low. I've worked for years to make sure that reimbursement rate is fixed, and we're on our way to doing that, and that we move that reimbursement rate from fee-for-service to one based on value of care, quality of care, make it more efficient so we can save taxpayer dollars so that Iowans can get the providers they need. I'm proud of my work on that issue, folks. I'm proud of my work on that issue. Ultimately, here's the deal with this election. It is a choice election, as I said, at all levels. Ultimately, it is a choice. It's a choice about who best is going to protect, restore, and expand the middle class. That's what this is about. And that's the key to the middle class. That's the key to getting ahead in America. But it's not just the key to getting ahead on your own, but it's the key to making sure that America stays competitive in the world economy. It's about the world economy as well, and keeping America at the forefront. I think the American dream is alive and well. I think that democracy in America is alive and well. But we can't continue either of those if we don't continue to strengthen the middle class, And if we don't have those educational opportunities for those folks that got me somehow to where I am today, standing up here talking to you as a congressman, if anybody had told me that in the 4th grade when I moved in with my grandma, I would have thought you were totally crazy. There's no way that that can happen. But if it can happen for me, I can only imagine what can happen for those folks out there who are struggling, who need the help, who need that opportunity, who need a little bit of a hand, so when they take the personal responsibility that they will take, that I took beginning when I was in grade school, for their own future, that they've got a little bit of help there, they got some community folks there, they've got some help because they're going to need it. Things are not easy in America now. And I'll just leave you with this. If we adopt my opponent's positions on a lot of these issues, who, by the way, said that the Ryan budget's a good start, if the Ryan budget is a good start, I'm very fearful about what the end point is going to be, folks. Very fearful, okay? And I'm sure many of you are too. I hope those here in the audience, those who are going to watch this video, those who might hear about this speech, will make a different decision. They'll choose Dave Loebsack for this congressional election, and I can promise you that I will do everything I can to fight as hard as I can to continue to protect and expand the middle class. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.